Hello everyone, welcome back. So this wee video is gonna have a lot of different wee things in it. And first what I'm doing here is actually stripping some wallpaper off. So this wall's all boast. I'm gonna have to strip the paper off, then the plaster, and you can see this crack here. I'm gonna try and stop that from ever happening again as well with wire mesh, and create a lot of different wee jobs involved in this small job. So it's when I want to do the voiceover and just talk you through what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and when I'm doing it. So obviously, first of all, you don't always need a steamer. This is actually old style paper. It's been on a good while and it has several layers of paint on, and I'm just wetting it with water. There's a little bit of detergent in it, going along the crack. Now my idea here is that it's really only both to the crack and a wee bit just beyond the crack. So what I'm going to be planning on doing here doesn't always work the plans, guys, but my plan is to strip the paper off round the edges and just go past the crack, which will allow me, when I am coming to the skimming stage, to be able to skim flush to the original skim. And then the idea is, I think they're going to paper the section that I repair back in to the old. So you can see I have dust sheets and stuff down. Quite a narrow sort of old Victorian style of house here. So there's not a great deal of room. So I'm just starting at the bottom. I'm going to try and get the top layer of paper off first, and then the bottom layer. Just picking it up. I'm trying to be careful here. As I say, I don't want to pull the paper off where it's not necessary. So I'm just trying to take my time and be careful, especially at the joint. Like I said, I want to go just beyond the crack with taking the old render and plaster off. But I don't want to damage the paper any more than need be. And saying that now, this is probably the second time I've soaked this wall as well. And you can see that getting it started can be the tricky part. But eventually, here we go. So you see it's coming off not too bad, considering it is quite old paper. And see the water get through the crack okay. See the way it's damp on the under lining of the paper. The other thing I was trying to do is keep a nice sort of piece of this paper. It's not really working so well to start, but I'm trying to keep a bit of a piece of paper so that they can match it. If you're also thinking why not, and that's one of the reasons, trying to save a little bit so that they can match in the paper when they go to bed again. So also, if you see that plaster mold there, I'm possibly going to try and copy it in the future. I think there's nice detail in it. There'll be a better clip of that there later on, possibly in another video. Might do a wee follow-up video. This video, I'm going to run this to the sand and cement stage, and I know that this house will have a red brick under it, so there's lots of different things to be discussed, talked about the whole way through. But so stick around to see the tactics I'm going to go for. So I'll just skip forward a bit, getting a good lot of the paper off, and it's very, very loose. Look, it's hollow when I'm knocking it. I'm just sort of doing the knock test to see where it's loose too. And the reason I think that it has came loose, I think there's actually their neighbours on the other side has heating pipes and stuff going up there as well. So probably when it was getting fitted, there's not a in these houses there's no cavity, so if you hit one brick, it'll hit the second brick and it will actually pop off. So bear that in mind when you're in the older houses, not to be too crazy with a Kango. So just getting the last bits of paper off before I start tucking into where the render needs to come off. As believe it or not, the wallpaper will hold the render on somewhat. So it's better to get that stripped off and then just start into the wall. You can see things and understand them more. The likes of that crack, there might be more cracks hidden underneath the paper, and you might want to sort of use mesh and some wire mesh as well, or fibre mesh. So now I'm happy enough I've got the paper off. You can see I've got the dust sheet, the dust mask on, sort of just trying to keep the floor clean as possible. And you can see I don't actually need a Kango for this one. I'm sure you have seen me remove render before with a Kango, a bit more stubborn. But you'll see here just how loose some of this really is. And like I said earlier, I don't want to be banging too hard and possibly damaging the other side. As there's literally 10 mil between cavities, if even. So you just can see that the wall is ready to go anytime itself. Red brick. Most times once it does come loose, it can be very, very loose and easily taken away as well. So it's a Belfast brick, this. Not sure if you have it all over the place. I think it is in England as well. It's just a style of what happened back in them days, the Victorian times, what way they built. It's with brick, and then block was invented. So I only really started, there was a bit of a hole there, and I just decided to start from there. Most times I do start at the very top and work my way down the wall. I know some people start at the bottom, but I prefer actually, if possible, to start at the top so that nothing can fall on you as you come on down. But you can see I'm actually able to take some parts off with just a simple paint scraper, and it's quite a flexible one. So I think by using hand tools to take this off, I have minimised dust and noise and possible damage to the ceiling and the neighbouring wall behind. And obviously you can see past that crack, I've just cut about 2 inches past there. It's quite a bad crack through brick, so there has been a bit of movement there that's caused that, I would imagine, just over the years. So not much left to go. A few more wee hairline cracks and stuff through mortar joints there. Nothing too bad, nothing too serious. So again, not hitting very hard, it's just a hammer tapping a wallpaper scraper. I wouldn't advise hitting that too hard, I'm just literally tapping it. Cleaning my angles. Tend to find the cleaner you get your angles when you're doing me jobs like this, it'll make life easier going forward when you're rendering and then when you're skimming again. Another wee tip, I've said this in other videos as well, all my angles I slice with a Stanley knife just in case the paper had returned around the corner, and if you don't do that, when you go to pull that wallpaper off, it'll just rip that paper as well, obviously. And also after I did that, I also cut the skim coat and cut as deep round them edges around the plaster corbel here, the wee angel's face. Cut round all that with a knife as best I could as well, to minimise anything chipping and tearing off other corners. Otherwise I'd end up doing possibly 3 or 4 walls here, because if you don't do them things, it could cause the whole corner to fall off on both sides. But that being said, that top piece there above the head, it's plasterboard, but there could be scrim tape there, and if you just pull one edge, you will damage both corners. So sort of kind of be things you pick up over time, you learn the hard way. So the other thing I'm looking about here for, guys, after when I'm cleaning this all down, is there any wood? Some of these houses tend to have like a wooden strap going along them. Somebody told me that was for expansion or something back in the day. Right, so there's not much room in those type of houses for a cement mixer or a belly mixer. So I came up with the idea that I would pre-mix before I went to the job and have a tub and a few buckets of cement ready. So my plan was that I could strip off the job and either get a scratch coat on. I didn't want to scud it because you've seen yourself, there's carpet, wallpaper everywhere, painted ceilings, so I was trying to keep mess to a minimum. As you can see, the water I just added has lots of SBR, waterproofer and PVA in it, so it should be a real strong mix here. I'm going for 3 to 1, 3 sand, 1 cement, plus all the SBR and additives. So my idea is, if I could scratch it, I'll scratch it out, but if it'll hold my next coat, I'll go ahead and I'll do that same day, and then it means that a day or two later I can skim it. So like I said previous there, the idea was to pre-mix. I'm also going to bring the petrol mixer with me, as it's going to be just as handy for small areas. A lot easier to wash out and clean out as well, other than a belly mixer or a mini mixer. By the time you sort of get them things washed out, you could be looking at a half hour to wash it out, find somewhere to dump water, where the likes of this drill here, this petrol mixer from Refina, takes seconds to wash. Literally quick spin and it's clean and it's ready for the next mix. So where a belly, you have to really get it scrubbed out, possibly put some stones in, and all that is extra time, extra mess, extra hassle. Lifting a belly mixer in the van by yourself is very difficult. Lifting this drill, no problems. It's very quick, handy. Just thought that the likes of these types of jobs, this is where this petrol mixer comes into its own as well. You can see I don't need any leads or wires, just fire it up and get it mixed. And you can also see that it's having no problems mixing. So my other additive here, if anybody's guessed it yet, I'm putting some fibres in the mix. And what I'm hoping that'll do is, you've seen the job already, there's cracks through the brick. I already knew there was going to be bad cracks. I potentially knew that before I stripped this plaster off, that them cracks were going to be through the brick. But all that being said, I knew that there was going to be cracks, so my tactic here is to reinforce the render with these fibres. And you can see that the drill again, mixing them, no problems. I will give this another quick mix before I apply it as well, as it will be sitting maybe an hour and a half before I get it applied to the wall, as it's going to take me some time to cover up and strip the job off. But just really sort of plan ahead. Always sort of say that on many of my videos, trying to get a step ahead, make life easy. This is sort of some of the things that I would do. Maybe pre-mix where my sand and cement is, and I also brought some more buckets of sand and cement with me, just in case I needed an extra bucket or two. But you can see how easily this is not, a mega mixer would mix a big tub like this, but this is definitely outperforming the mega mixer for sand and cement. It's almost mixing it as if it was skim, but believe me, that's actually quite a nice mix. Like I said, I want the light. I'm going to give it a scratch, have some lunch, see how it takes up. If it takes up and dries up well enough that I know it'll hold the second coat, I'll go ahead and I'll go for that too. So like I said earlier, how easy it is to wash this out. That's pretty much it. Clean. I tend to find satin cement washes off the drill just that bit quicker than skim and bonding, especially bonding. But that's it. Clean and ready for the next mix, and that's all I have to do on the job as well. So back to the job, guys. All stripped off, ready to go, and we've seen this big large crack through the brick. So this was taking all the precautions here, trying to avoid that ever cracking again. So I've got the fibres in the mix, a good strong mix, SBR, waterproofers, and some PVA, and also I got the wire mesh going now too. And what I hope that'll do is just eliminate that from ever cracking again. What I do know is that that literally has been every tactic in the book to stop that cracking. I can't really come up with any more solutions for you guys for a bad crack. That's all out there. The only thing I could think you could do there before you skim it is put some scrim tape on, but the wire mesh and the mix itself is much stronger than scrim tape will be. But so this is the first coat I'm applying. What I've also done is give the red bricks a good dust down, so that there's no dust on them. I give them a bit of a wet, and I give them a wee quick coat of SBR as well. Thing is about SBR, when you're coating it, you might want to coat small areas, as you don't want it to dry fully on you. You kind of want it to be wet. You want it to dry as your plaster's taken up as well. But bear in mind, if you are going over older surfaces, they will dry. They will have higher suction, so you have to keep all that in mind. Just what I'm doing here with the point and trowel, I'm just getting good pressure in that expanding metal, in that wire mesh, and I'm making sure it's well tucked in there. So I was making sure the render is both under it and above it. Also making sure that I was keeping very neat along my edge that I'll be patching to. And again, Ragnite tools here with Pointsman Hawk, still floating away with it. Keeping my refiner trowel for the skimming. Don't want to risk it on getting a chip. When you have a nicely broken trowel, you want to avoid using it for satin cement and use your more newer trowels and get them broken. Just basically that is the life cycle of plastering trowels. So I think I'm still using the Spear Jackson bucket scoop here as well. I'm definitely going to do a follow-up sort of video here, guys, on certain tools that have, some of these tools actually you'll not really have seen or had me talk much about, but I want to sort of do a video on the more robust, reliable and quality tools that I've been using. You can give them all a bit of a shout out and show you what I think's worth buying. I get asked quite a lot. Do have a big variation of trowels that I know have lasted time and time again. Refiner being right up there. So just want to sort of do a video on that as well. So keep your eyes open for that one coming up. So you can see that the stuff is still spreading lovely. Just give it another quick mix up. You don't want, when you're mixing with SBR, you don't want your stuff to tighten too much, because that would be the SBR going off and you would have to add more SBR into the mix. But basically everything I've done here, I've cleaned down the wall, Well, very important things: get the wall dust free. I give it a quick wet, and then when I was out mixing, I came back in. Obviously, the water dries up into the older background, so I then give it an SPR coat. And obviously, there's SPR in the mix as well. And there's fibres, you've seen that. So quite a lot of buckles and braces going here. Not the biggest area, but big enough where you don't want any problems as well. So scratch coat held up good. It's later on, you can actually see it's much brighter now as well. So scratch coat held up well, so I was able to actually go ahead and put another thin layer of sand cement on. This time I added a bit more sand just to make sure that they take to each other. And this would have been more, I'd say it's more a 3.5 to 1 mix on top of the 3 to 1 mix. So I'm gradually getting weaker there. I do lots of videos. There's lots of videos talking about why and that. So what I'm doing now is I'm rubbing up. I have straightened the wall with my feather edge, and now I'm just rubbing up smooth with nails in the float. It's called devil floating. That's what I call devil floating. You're just giving the wall a key here, and what that does is just help your skim coat grip in and bond to your render coat. Although this is such a small patch, I'll still give it 2 coats of skim when I come to do the skim coat. Just filling in as many holes as I can. I recommend just do, guys, especially when you're starting out. It's not a big must do, because your skim will actually go into them, but the flatter and neater you have this float coat here, the easier it is for you to skim. The less skim you'll use as well. Things will just go a lot easier for you, especially if you're picking up the plastering trade. But come to the end here at the minute, if you are interested in seeing the wall after it's all skimmed up, just drop me a comment. If I missed anything out, which I usually do, let me know in the comments. If there's any videos, anything in particular you want to see. I know this was asked for quite a lot more. People like to see more render and how-to videos, so hope I've covered a few of your questions before you just had to ask them. But if not, feel free to ask more questions. I'll do my very best to help you guys out at all times. So that's it, guys. Get it all floated up, get it cleaned up, let your render take up, and get it skimmed. Possibly the next day, but if not, maybe 2 days later.
Brothers, what we doing live echoes in eternity.